All right, so this is going to be my shot at a one-take minimal editing video with the light on about posture. So I talk a lot about posture and its connection with a positive voice. And before I start, I just have to tell you that there is no silver bullet that I have found yet. This stuff all works together, and honestly, it just takes a little bit of brute force to continue to listen to the positive voice. Sometimes you're not feeling it. I have been doing this for 10 days now, and there have been quite a few times when I just have been not feeling it. But I do my best when I catch myself to tune into the positive voice and just start listening. And that is the same thing with posture. So I'm going to talk about posture. So what is good posture? And the disclaimer here is that I'm not an expert, but I have watched quite a few videos on it, and I have paid attention to good posture my whole life. A lot of people talk about good posture, meaning that your hands don't rotate inward. I don't know if you can see this, but they don't rotate forward while you're standing. I don't know. I notice with my forearm, there's quite a bit of flexibility to twist there. So I'm not completely convinced that that is the exact definition, but for me, it's about, instead of having my shoulders hunched forward and the top of my neck going like this, and then probably also my head out. So here would be from the side. So instead of doing this, it would be having my head back and my shoulders back and my chest up. And so I've struggled with this for a long time, and especially being a person who works on a computer a lot, I have really had a hard time making sure that my posture was good. And I think that that comes in two categories. One is remembering to have good posture, and the other is just the ability to have good posture. So for me, like everything in life, this was a combination type of thing. So the first element of it that I would mention is just remembering to sit up straight and keep my head back. The way that I remember it is, honestly, I just watched a lot of different videos about bad posture and the impacts of bad posture, and then I talked to my kids about it, and I watched TED Talks about how good posture improves your testosterone levels and all those kinds of things, and it just sunk into my mind a little bit. So I think if you would like to have good posture and you're having a hard time remembering it, there are a ton of things that you can do. You can wear a little bracelet. Some people wear a rubber band, and when they catch themselves doing something wrong, they snap themselves. I don't know, that's a little bit of like a corporal punishment type thing. But there are a lot of different reminders that you can do. You can even set a randomized alarm on your phone to remind you to do it. But basically, I have my kids reminding me, and then I remind myself. And when I notice, I just have good posture, and sometimes I even exaggerate it a little bit. So I would say that this is pretty okay posture, but sometimes I'll pull it back more and pull my arms back more just to counteract the impact of having been forward so much. The second element of good posture is actually, how do you have good posture? There was a video that I watched that I really, really liked. And because I always thought about good posture like with my shoulders back, but I'm like, how far back do I put my shoulders? You know, I could put them back just like that, I guess, if I wanted. And how far should I do, like double chin or something like that? And he said something that I really liked. He said, imagine that there's a string right here in your sternum, and it's just pulling you up. And so it's pretty much the string on your sternum is pulling you up. So you just think about that. And as you do that, as you lift your chest, your shoulders will naturally fall into a pretty good position. So here we go. So I'm just lifting my chest, and you look like you're stronger too, or have bigger boobs if you're a girl. The other element of posture for me that I pay attention to is my hips, and it's the difference between, hopefully you can see this with this camera angle, I don't know, but it's the difference between having my butt stick out versus having my butt kind of tucked in. And there's the most important element of that, aside from just remembering, and actually a good way to make sure that happens is just whenever you're standing. I actually watched this video made by this guy who was a male model. He was a runway model, and he said, squeeze your butt cheeks while you walk. Like, walk with squeezed butt cheeks. And as funny as that sounds, it's actually, if you just think of squeezing your butt cheeks and having that string on your sternum, your posture will be pretty solid. But you also have to make sure that your body is capable of having good posture. And so there are two elements of that. One is flexibility and the other is strength. So from a flexibility standpoint, I've already done my foam rolling video, and that is huge. I would highly, highly, highly recommend. I will post a link to it. So I absolutely foam roll the front where my pecs come in, because I do a decent amount of push-ups. So I'm tightening up these muscles, and then also when my shoulders are forward when I'm on a computer, these muscles get short and tight here. So I do a decent amount of foam rolling on the front part of my shoulders. And then also when you sit, I did not know this, but when you sit, your muscles right here, they're called your hip flexors, they get tightened up and shortened up, and they end up pulling the top of your pelvis forward, which makes your butt stick out, and that's not good for your knees and everything like that. So that's the squeezing your butt cheeks to push that forward, but it really helps if you loosen up those muscles. And another thing that you can do is just stand with your leg back like this, but try and keep your body as upright as possible and basically push this hip forward and stretch that out. But foam rolling does wonders for that muscle. Finally, in terms of muscular development, I do a lot of ab work and things, and that helps, and probably if you did butt exercises, that would help. But for me, the biggest thing is upper body. And I've always seen these either elastic bands or these spring things that you're supposed to go like this, but I never really knew what that was for. I didn't really understand. And after hurting my back, I learned you have to counteract all of this forward movement. So this is a nice big rubber band that I got with a pull-up bar. It's actually made to go on the pull-up bar and then put your knee on it, and it makes the pull-ups easier. But I can hold this out with my palms up and just pull out like this, and then slowly go back. And if I do things like that, and then Megan, my wife, also, she went to physical therapy, and you can do it diagonal like this, diagonal like this. Exercises like that. Another way that you can do a similar exercise is you back yourself into the corner where two walls come together, and you hold your elbows like this, so you're back in the corner, and then you lift yourself out of the corner, and then you let yourself go back, and then you lift out and you let yourself go back. Anything that you can do to tighten up those muscles that can pull back your shoulders is a huge help, and it will really help you be able to have good posture. So in summary, the main elements of having good posture: number one, remembering to have good posture, and you do that by just pounding it into your head, and also getting people around you to remind you. And my little daughter, she's so cute. She always reminds me about it, and she looks at me and she says, "Dad," and she just sits up straight, and so it's really cute. Number two, knowing how to have good posture, which is imagining the string pulling up your sternum and squeezing your butt cheeks. Number three is having the flexibility to have good posture, so foam roll and stretch. Another thing that I do whenever I do push-ups or anything, I go up to a wall, flat up to a wall, I'll show you from behind, put my arm on it like this, and then push and stretch. And that really does a great job to stretch right through here. And then finally building the strength to hold your shoulders back. And so a lot of pulling shoulder activities. Another one that you can do, aside from straight arms pulling like this or at a diagonal, you can actually hold your arms like this, bent, like you're gonna do a bicep curl, and then pull that way, and that works your exterior rotation of your shoulders. So that is it for posture. Have a great day. Talk to you later.